Hello, this is Scott Jordan, and this is Jancast number 194 for Thursday, July 10th, 2025. Yes, I'm riding solo today. Decided to mix it up instead of the AI people talking. Thought we had some pretty interesting news along the lines of the supply chain stuff that we reported on earlier, and also wanted to touch on a new product that's showing up in our marketplace. But we've talked about some of the shortages caused by the supply chain and tariffs and everything else, but there's four specific areas that we need to focus on, or everybody needs to focus on going forward, because it's probably not going to get any better. To start with, packaging shortages, that involves bottles and things like that, but the background on that is the plastic resins that make PET bottles and the high-density polyethylene bottles don't necessarily come from the United States. So that potentially is going to be some shortages in bottles, kind of like we used to have back during the pandemic. Freight and port congestion is also going to cause a little bit. We had a major drop-off, which we talked about previously, as far as container ships leaving from China because they couldn't just send over partial ships. They had to wait for them to be filled. And then that changed all the logistics of all the different ports and where they are. So there's a lot of issues with congestion. And then we have things like the Red Sea. They're going to be rerouting things, Panama Canal, because of drought limits. So there's all kinds of stuff coming from a port standpoint and shipping standpoint that's going to prevent stuff. Next one, the third one's pretty big, and really hadn't thought about it, but adhesives. So my label printing guys are telling me that we're getting shortages and price increases attributed to tariffs, specifically for the adhesives that are used on pressure-sensitive labels. Obviously, most of our packaging we used to do silkscreen, but now it's all pressure-sensitive labels, most of which are printed in-house on blank stock. So the lack of adhesives is affecting the supply chain as far as that's concerned. And then the last one is regulatory driven, and that was what our AI people reported on during the last show, was about what's happening with Safer Choice, EPA. All that is going to disrupt like new product developments. And we're still waiting to hear and see how the Safer Choice thing all plays out. I think you've heard on previous shows that we are in the process of an audit, which takes place on a regular basis. It's usually every 3 years. And we're in the process of doing a final audit on the 10 or so products that we have with Safer Choice. Seems to be a little bit disruption there as to what their processes are, since a bunch of people were laid off. But so we'll see how that's going and keep reporting on it. Speaking of regulatory, I've gotten quite a few questions this week about a new product that actually it's not new, called Lysol Air Sanitizer. And the reason we started getting calls about it is apparently it was a major advertising push was put on through Sanitary Maintenance magazine, and they had a wrapper on the outside of the magazine. We haven't seen our copy yet, but did a little research on it. And it's not a brand new product. It was developed back in 2022. It's pretty interesting. It's reading the reports correctly, it's the first product approved for killing both viruses and bacteria suspended in the air. Now, if my good associate Mark Warner was here, we could have a half an hour discussion just about that. But I'm not exactly sure what the benefit of this product is, and it's kind of like, let me run through how it's actually used. So it's specific to bacteria and viruses only in the air, and it also only eliminates odor-causing bacteria in some cases. So there's no residual effect afterwards. The way the product is typically used based on the label, and those of you that are familiar with EPA products know if you find out what the EPA registration number is for that particular product, you can do a Google search and you get a complete copy of the master label that was submitted to EPA. So if you want to know about the difference between marketing claims and real claims, you should look at what the marketing says versus what the label actually says. So if we're going to get into this, it's like, okay, it's an interesting product. It's the first on the market to be able to make that claim. So nothing wrong with that, but it's been approved by the EPA. But I'm not exactly sure what the functionality is. So the instructions read: to kill bacteria after spraying, leave the room for 4 minutes. To kill viruses after spraying, leave the rooms for 12 minutes. So what you're supposed to do is shake the can first off and then spray it for 30 seconds in the room. And then depending upon what your kill goal is, you either have to let it sit for 4 minutes or let it sit for 12 minutes. So it's only effective against certain organisms, obviously, as far as bacteria and viruses, but it's only killing those ones in the air. It's not killing anything on hard surfaces, because the label claim doesn't make any statements as far as that's concerned. It also can't be used around food. You have to rinse food contact surfaces with potable water. So if it was like a classroom setting and you had a bunch of desks there where students actually ate their lunch, you'd have to, after application of this product, you'd have to go back and do a potable water rinse. Spray may leave the hard floors slippery. That one's problematic, I guess. There was a challenge brought by P&G over some of the claims that they make. So that's interesting. I'll let you guys do a little bit of research that. I'll put some links in the show notes for that. But so it's effective against Staphylococcus and Pseudomonas aeruginosus, or another version of that, with a 4-minute claim. And then on the 12-minute claim, it's effective against influenza and the coronavirus. But again, it's only airborne. So I guess it's up to you to decide as to what's the purpose of the product, but at least now you kind of know what some of the facts are. And if you need any more info, you can certainly reach out to us. Hope you found this show has been interesting and given you some data that maybe you didn't have before. Stay tuned as the summer continues. We'll mix it up with live shows like this one, as well as replays of past shows, and then maybe some additional AI stuff. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and have a great summer if we don't see each other for a little while. Thank you.
Tune in to Jancast, time to clean the air. Sparkling ideas, you're aware. From the floors to the sky, let's make it new. Jancast will see this mission through. Jancast.com, where clean begins. Podcasting dreams where fresh winds. Eco thoughts and healthy spins. Jancast.com, let's dive in. Dust off the doubts and shine the day. Insights clear to light our